So if you're listening to this, I sense that you are perhaps stuck in a rut at the moment, feeling a little bit overwhelmed because you're just not achieving what you set out to do in the first place with your business, and you can't get out of the day-to-day cycle of getting stuck doing things. So listen hard, because there's some great tips here as to how to get you back on the right path to achieving even more. That nose is my shoe. So you've possibly got your business up to the stage where you're working very long hours, it's taking more time than you expected it to do, and you're just not achieving what you thought you would, but it's taking over your life. I know that a lot of businesses reach this point, and when you get to that stage, it can really affect your motivation, because you've probably set up your business in order to do lots of cool things that you'd planned, work on some great ideas that you thought you'd be able to make happen, but instead you're stuck in the day-to-day routine and tasks that are just simply taking up your time. I'm sure this is having an effect on your relationships, possibly with the hours that you're working. It could be costing you lost sleep, which in turn will have an effect on its health. And I'm very much a believer that you should be looking after yourself as part of your business journey. So I'm hoping today that I'll be able to take away a little bit of the pressure that you're suffering, get you out of this rut so that you can really start to motor on the track that you're supposed to be on. Now, you can trust me here, most of the businesses I deal with hit this point at some stage or other. But what I've learnt with them is that how you handle this stage determines whether your business is always going to be average or whether it's going to be really propelling and high achieving. So I need you to start really reflecting on the situation that you're in, and the first stage I'd like you to think about is to actually take a day off. Well, that is a day off from working in the business to take a day out to work on your business. Can you remember how much time and thought and energy you put in to making the decisions with regards to setting up in the first place? Well, it's time to revisit some of that thinking and just take a look at what needs to change in order for you to be achieving the things that you first thought you would achieve. And what I'd like to do here is give you an example of one business that I worked with and let you hear about how he turned himself around in order to become very successful. It was a young guy that I'd met. He'd set his business up a year earlier. He was only age 22, he'd done it straight from university, and he was quite keen to make a difference in the particular industry that he was in. He offered training services for children, and this meant that he was very passionate about doing things in order to support young people and the businesses that worked in them. Therefore, he found it exceptionally difficult to charge for what he was doing. So he contacted me after year one, and when we laid everything out, he was only actually bringing in £11,000 worth of income. And unless he changed what he was doing, he was only going to achieve the same in year two, which really wasn't going to be acceptable or getting to the point where he wanted his business to be. So we looked at his working week and even drilled down to every day how much income he was generating. When we looked at his time that he was spending actually providing his service, we recognised that 60% of his working week he was actually not doing anything, working voluntarily, or providing a service for free in order to get his foot in the door. What we then recognised was that when he'd done the free work to get his foot in the door, it was taking on average 3 or 4 months in order to build to the point where he was paying for a contract with that organisation or company. Now, if he continued on the same path, it really wasn't going to be sustainable, and he might as well have closed the doors and gone to work for an employer so he could earn a better salary. Not wanting to do this, we actually started to work out what percentage of his working week could be more effective, and we determined that 60% of his time was going unpaid. So we turned things on its head, and we actually looked at what value service he could offer, building in a free consultation as part of the package. He started to charge £200 for this, and before he knew it, his diary started to fill. I'm happy to say that at the end of year 2, he'd pushed his turnover to nearly £40,000. The change was remarkable. And at that point, he called me in to do the same exercise again so that he would trigger some change for the following year. Well, I'm really pleased to say that 5 years later on, he still uses me as his business coach and mentor. I provide him as much support as I possibly can, and he now employs 19 people and has a turnover of nearly £500,000, which was his goal that he set the 7 years prior. Now, he's on a mission without doubt and will reach the million that was initially what he set out to do. But without him taking that step back to analyse why he was stuck and what was going wrong, he might never even have a business today. So I'd like you to listen to that story and just think about what you could do for yourself. Have you got the time to take a day off to work on your business? If not, make time. Look at your diary and get a date booked in. I'd like you to analyse each day of the week and just reflect on how much income you're bringing in on those days. I'd like you to do a 6-month plan, layering in the figures that you do know. What income do you know is coming in? What outcomes do you know are going out? And step back and reflect on whether or not there is sufficient there to pay the bills you want to pay. And that includes a salary for you so that you are okay at home. Once you've done that exercise, I'd then like you to play around with sales and start forecasting what perhaps you could achieve. I'd like you to look at the costs. Are there any costs that you could reduce in order to make yourself more profitable? Once you start getting that focus, it really starts to sharpen your thinking as to how you can generate the money that you need on a weekly, monthly basis. By taking that bite-sized chunk of 6 months, it can really help propel you in terms of working on products that will take you forward for the next year, 2 years, 3 years, and so on. So, as part of that exercise, I'd like you to look at what your least profitable activities are and take a stock of what it is you're doing that's wasting your time, that actually, if you took out of your day altogether, it would give you those valuable hours for you to start creating, producing and selling the cool things that you want to do. Look, this is really simple advice, but it's very difficult to take heed when you are so busy. So if you've got somebody around you who that you believe could help and certainly has your best interests at heart and gets your business, then just check in with them. Ask them for a coffee. See if they'll just help, even if it's just for you to get your thoughts down on paper. Once you've put your thoughts on paper, trust me, you're 90% more likely to take action. So, if you're prepared to break this cycle of being stuck in this rut, and instead of working in your business, you need to work on it, I suggest that the first thing you do, once you've finished listening to me, is actually go and get your diary and plan in when that day should be. I'd love to hear your results, and if you need any support from me, then please drop me an email. If I can answer any questions for you, I'll certainly do that. So thank you for listening. I hope I've given you something that will make a difference now to you and your business. Please stay in touch by signing up for the High Achievers list. And if you have any questions, contact me directly at lesliecalland.com. And any useful questions that I feel will help other people, we'll make sure we use in one of our next videos. Good luck. See you soon.